Have you ever noticed? Some people attract attention the moment they walk into a room. What they say is taken more seriously and people naturally respect them. Yet they do not try to prove themselves to anyone. On the other hand, there are people who, no matter how kind, helpful, and understanding they are, never seem to receive the value they deserve. What's even more interesting is that most of the time they don't understand why. Perhaps at some point in your life you tried to please people. You explained yourself at length to avoid being misunderstood, held back your true thoughts so you wouldn't upset anyone, and did everything you could to make the people around you like you. But over time you noticed something strange. The more you wanted to be accepted, the less valued you felt. The more approval you sought, the more ordinary people began to see you. It was as if those who constantly tried to earn appreciation were appreciated the least. So what could be the reason for this? Why do people tend to respect those who do not need anyone else's approval? Why do those who constantly explain themselves, try to prove themselves, or want to be liked by everyone gradually lose their influence? And most importantly, why does the way people see you begin to change the moment you stop seeking approval? The truth is that most people send a signal without even realizing it. This signal is not communicated through words, but through behavior. A person who constantly seeks approval is actually sending the following message to the world: my value depends on how you see me. Interestingly, human psychology tends to respect people less when they place their self-worth in the hands of others. Because people do not sense confidence, they sense the lack of it. In this video, we will talk about the hidden costs of seeking approval, why people react to it the way they do, and why learning to live without tying your worth to the opinions of others can completely transform your life. Because sometimes earning more respect from people does not require you to do more. Sometimes the only thing you need to do is stop needing their approval. Seeking the approval of others often seems like an innocent behavior. After all, we all want to be loved, accepted, and valued. It is a deeply human need. The problem begins when this desire gradually turns into a habit. At a certain point, a person starts shaping their decisions, values, and even happiness according to the opinions of others. What they say, how they behave, what decisions they make, and even how they present themselves become influenced by the reactions they expect from the people around them. Without realizing it, they hand over control of their life to others. If people praise them, they feel good. If they criticize them, they lose motivation. If they are appreciated, they feel happy. If they are ignored, they feel worthless. As a result, they lose their inner compass and constantly try to find direction through the opinions of others. But there is a major problem here. People's opinions are constantly changing. Someone who supports you today may criticize you tomorrow. Something they consider right today may seem wrong to them tomorrow. If you tie your worth to the opinions of others, achieving lasting peace throughout your life becomes almost impossible. What's even more interesting is that people generally respect those who appear confident in themselves. Confidence is contagious. People who stand behind their decisions do not seek approval for every action, and are willing to be alone when necessary appear strong. These individuals do not try to make everyone like them. They understand that being loved by everyone is impossible. That is why they spend their energy living their own lives rather than trying to convince others. On the contrary, people who constantly seek approval unknowingly send a very different message. Every time they try to explain themselves, respond to criticism, or correct a misunderstanding, they are essentially saying, "Please think well of me." Yet the people who earn respect are not those who try to control what everyone thinks about them. They are the ones who do not try to control it at all. Perhaps one of the most important realizations that can change your life is this: you cannot make everyone understand you. No matter how much you explain yourself, some people will misunderstand you. No matter how good your intentions are, some people will not like you. No matter how successful you become, some people will criticize you. Because the way people see you is often less about you and more about their own perspective. This is exactly where true freedom begins. The moment you stop waiting for people's approval, you begin to become your true self for the first time. And paradoxically, that is also the moment when people's respect for you starts to grow, because you are no longer placing your value in their hands. One of the clearest places where this can be seen is in the ability to say no. Many people say yes even to things they do not want because they are afraid of disappointing others. They take on extra responsibilities, postpone their own plans, and put their own needs in second place. At first glance, this may look like selflessness. However, over time, people begin to see this behavior not as sacrifice, but as availability. Because human nature has a tendency to gradually place less value on things that are always accessible. Think about it. A person who is always available, accepts every request, and never sets boundaries eventually becomes just an option in the eyes of others. In contrast, people who value their own time, energy, and life leave a very different impression. They do not try to please everyone. They say no when necessary. They walk away when necessary. They remain silent when necessary. And interestingly, most people do not perceive this as arrogance. They perceive it as self-respect. Stoic philosophers also emphasized an important point regarding this issue. According to them, the only thing a person can truly control is their own behavior. The thoughts, opinions, and judgments of others remain outside of our control. Yet despite this, most people spend their lives trying to manage the very things they cannot control. They want to be liked by everyone. They want everyone to understand them. They want everyone to think positively about them. But this is an impossible goal. The same person can earn one person's admiration and another person's criticism because of the exact same behavior. Once you accept this reality, a tremendous weight begins to lift from your shoulders. You no longer feel obligated to correct every misunderstanding. You no longer feel the need to respond to every comment made about you. You stop expecting everyone to like you, because you realize that people's opinions are temporary while your character is lasting. And it is at this point that an interesting transformation begins to take place. The less importance you place on how others see you, the more influence you begin to have in their eyes. Because your actions are no longer guided by fear, they are guided by your values. You stop being someone who seeks approval and become someone who lives according to their principles. And this is where genuine respect often begins. People do not respect those who spend their lives trying to be accepted by everyone. They respect those who are willing to stand alone when necessary.